I'll never be as cool as Elliot is a cool guy. Alright, welcome back to Breaking It Down for episode. If you haven't watched episode 1, please go ahead and watch it. For today's episode, we're gonna talk about an amazing project orchestrated by Sandra Bart. Alright, let's go right into it. Well, I'm with Sandra. So Sandra last year did an amazing project called AR Advent. Well, I'm gonna let you introduce the project.
So it's 25 doors actually, and they can be opened using an augmented reality app. Behind these doors there are 25 animations made by 25 talented artists. I started with 2 people and just wanted to test the idea and ask them, hey, is it good? Or they were like, oh, that's a great idea. I would really like to join.
Nice.
And this was really motivational for me. I really liked also the idea of showing animation to a public that normally doesn't see it. Like I'm in my Instagram bubble seeing this creative content every day. And in my hometown in Leipzig, Germany, there's not so much great design to the general public. And I wanted to have an event to showcase what is capable, what these people are capable of. Yeah, and there are people who don't use their smartphone like we do, but they are seeing it through the smartphone of someone else, and they are intrigued by it. Or there are little children, of course, it's something they can experience with their parents. So that's how it all came about.
Wow. Which city exactly did you say it was exhibited?
Atlanta, Amsterdam, London, and Leipzig.
And how was the physical spaces? How did you find that?
The Leipzig location, early in the process, I knew that I wanted to have it installed at the Westberg, which is old industry hall. It's now shops. And I was like, yeah, I could really imagine it being at a place where people are strolling by every day. Other locations, I contacted Pip Williamson. She's located in Amsterdam. She instantly said yes, and I could location scout in Amsterdam. We could do it as well here. And I was like, yeah, that would be great. The other locations, I'm represented by Fern. They were looking for the location in Atlanta, where they are based.
Shout out to Caroline, our producer, that really helped you, I think, scouting the location and finding the artists.
And they are represented by Poco, and contacting them if there would be any possibility to have it in the UK. That's how we came to the 4th location, which is McCann in London. I went to Amsterdam and London to see the exhibition.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that it was AR, and I think that brings this other dimension outside of the digital world. So yeah, maybe you can talk through that, like how did you find it, what is it exactly, and like what was the process?
The first advent calendar that I did in 2022, I worked with iJack, but the downside of it was that it stores the artwork in a QR code. I had to use 2 QR codes. So it was a little bit tricky. A year after, I experimented with Artivive. Artivive doesn't need QR code, so your trigger image has to be so detailed that it can be recognized. And it was the fun part to come up with 25 different patterns. When I started with AR, I thought that could be an advent calendar. If someone installs an app, you want to know what's behind. You want to know what's happening.
That's true. To have people like make an extra step to see your stuff, like at least it was worth it for them to be like, okay, now I can see all of that. That's cool. You did day 24?
Yes.
Right? After all, you're also an artist. You're also an animator.
Yeah, I really wanted to do the 24. And I wanted to play with the shape of the door, and then something comes out of the chimney, and I didn't want it to be Santa Claus. And I asked my son. He said it should be a dinosaur because he's the biggest dinosaur fan. And I had the other idea of a Christmas tale about a goose. Is it goose?
Yeah, goose.
It is being bought by the father of the family, and the kids are playing with it, and it becomes a family member, and they don't want to eat it. So my door shows Auguste, the little goose, which doesn't get eaten. I'm not normally really pushing myself to post so much because really frustrating sometimes, and I don't want to do it for the algorithm. I want to do it when I feel like posting something. For me, Christmas was also a holiday with my family, and my family was like, okay, now your work has to be over because now it's family time. But yeah, this project had to finish in a good way.
But yeah, we have to not get too crazy about the reach and the algorithms because we have no control over that. And sometimes it's just like, we did our part, we created a project, it's out there, and that's it. All right, it was really nice to talk with you about the project. And I think we're gonna segue to the next part where you're gonna talk about the process of it. But thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
This is a sketch, and this is the animation I made in After Effects. The whole composition consists of shape layers. The legs here in the beginning are strokes. I adjusted the length with the trim path. And the position of the boots follows the same path. Then there is a part where the stretching begins. Here I'm exchanging the two leg strokes for a limb that I created with Character Tool. So I give it a name, click Create. We're creating the shape of the goose, some length, changing the direction. I'm increasing the width and changing the color to a slight gray. And then I'm adding a stroke. This will be the boot. So this works just like trim path. Adding another stroke for the white. So now I only have to repeat the process on the other side of the limb. And this is how I animate it. So when I increase the midpoint, it turns to the right. And when I decrease it, it turns to the left. By changing the length, I can add a little bit of anticipation in between. The next part is a transition of these two states, the stretching and the goose landing next to the chimney. There are only two in-betweens, with two body shapes where I adjusted the path, position and rotation a bit, to make the goose follow a slight curve. As the motion is so fast, I can easily get away with this, making the movement believable. I added a little follow-through, so the energy of the fall is visible in the bending of the neck and head. And then the goose flies away. This was a pretty difficult task. At least I thought it would be the most difficult part of the whole animation, but just as in the other transition, this one also doesn't need too much information to make one believe that the goose is flying away. Since we're not following the goose, it's not that important how the wings move exactly. It just needs to be believable. And the surprise helps, especially when watched in augmented reality, where your attention also lies on your surroundings.
Alright, that's it for today's episode, so stay tuned for the next one with James, our founder here at Fern. Alright, see ya!